Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I'm going to do a tag video. This was a tag that was created by my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library, and it's called the Dilemmas of a Book Nerd tag, because we all have those dilemmas. Everyone who loves books and loves reading, and these are just things that we think about more often than people who don't read, possibly, and I love the questions, so I was tagged in it. I'm definitely going to do it. Okay, so question number 1 is book storage. How do you organize and store your books? So all my books are on shelves, and I have recently, probably in the past 6 months, reorganized my shelves to where I have them categorized by genre as much as I can. I have a lot of shelves though. So I have these 2 behind me. I have one in my hallway. I have a big one in my living room, which is full of fantasy and science fiction. I have a smaller shelf in my bedroom, and then I have 2 book carts. So those, I mean, there's enough on there, like it's like a small bookshelf, so I count them. So technically I have 7 places where I keep books, and yeah. So they're kind of all over the place, all over my house, but I pretty much know where everything is, and I do try to keep it by genre so that, you know, I kind of keep like books together. I can usually keep authors together as much as possible, unless I have authors who write in different genres, which I do have a couple of those, and I will split them up. I like to keep all my genres together. It's just easier. Like, I'm in the mood for a thriller. This is my thriller shelf, so that's where I'm going to go to find one. Question number 2 is tracking. How do you keep track of what you read and what you own? And I'm a big user of Goodreads. I keep track of all the books that I have on my TBR that I physically own. All of those are on Goodreads. I might need to update that because I don't know that I've added my last couple book hauls on there. I need to double check. But for the most part, I do have just about everything that I own on my TBR for Goodreads. There are also some on there that I haven't acquired yet because there's some that are coming out, so I'm anticipating them, or I've entered giveaways and they automatically add those. So some of those are on there too. But I do that, and then I keep it updated as far as what I'm reading. So when I've read a book, it's marked on Goodreads. So I'm pretty good about that. Now, as to what I own, not only do I also have it on Goodreads, even though it's not absolutely everything on Goodreads is what I own, I have an Excel spreadsheet that my husband helped me create, and I have a list of all the physical books that I own that I have not read yet, and a list of my Kindle books that I own that I have not read yet. So I kind of keep that updated too, and then as I read them, I'll take them off. That gives me a better number as far as what realistically I have in the house that I have not read yet. So that's like the best place for me to go if I want to know like a specific number. How many physical books do I have that I haven't read yet? And I keep that as updated as I can as well, like when I haul books. And then at the end of every month, as I do my wrap-ups and stuff, I take off any books that I have read from that list too. So those 2. Question number 3 is borrow. Do you lend out your books? Sometimes. I have lent out books before that I have not gotten back, and I can't stand that. Okay, here's why. I know a lot of people who are totally fine lending out their books, and whether they get them back or not, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's just a book. Sure, it's just a book, but I spent money on that and you didn't. So if I'm going to let you borrow it, I'm going to expect to get it back. Just like if someone lets me borrow a book, I'm going to read it and I'm going to get it back to you. I'm not just going to keep it. Like, it's not a gift. It's a borrow. It's a lend. It's, you know. So I hesitate. I hesitate to lend out my books, especially if it's something that I've spent money on, like, or if it's like a first edition or a very special book to me that I don't want to get rid of, or, you know, like my edition of Gone Girls, my first edition is a first edition of that book. Like, oh, I don't want to let anyone borrow that. Nope. That's my precious. That's one of my favorite books of all time. And it's a first edition. If I didn't get it back, I would be so upset because I don't know if I'd be able to find that again. My Harry Potter books, my original Harry Potter books are all first editions. I don't think I could let those go, you know, and with the risk of not getting it back. So I don't know. I think certain books I would be okay lending out. I think it would depend on the book and it would depend on the person. I would have to trust them. Unless it's a book that I wouldn't care about if I got back, then like whatever, that's fine. But I would be very picky and choosy over which books I lend out and to who. And that's just like, they're my babies. I don't know. So yeah, I'm particular about it. Then again, I don't know a lot of people here currently where I live who have asked to borrow books. So right now it's not really an issue for me. Question number 4, buying. How do you buy or acquire your books? Yeah, we talked about that recently. Goodwill is probably my number one vice for book buying. I do have a Goodwill shopping vlog that I posted recently, so I'll link that link down below if you guys haven't seen it, but I take you into my 2 Goodwills that I frequent and show you some books and there's book sections and stuff. And I was really surprised at the feedback I got from that video. So many people said that their Goodwills do not have books, or that they have like 1 or 2 shelves and that's it. And that made me so sad. Like, you know, one of the Goodwills that I went to and I showed you, almost probably a quarter of the store is books. Like, really, truly, you know, it's obviously mostly clothes and stuff, but like there's a whole corner of that store that is just books, and it's shelves and shelves and shelves. So I don't know. It's interesting. And I don't live in a particularly large city. I really don't. Like, it's kind of the smaller of the cities that are surrounding us. So I don't know. I'm not sure why it's so different or why I have such a large selection in my area, but I guess I should be grateful for it. I also buy a lot on bookoutlet.com. I have not been putting as many orders in there just because I tend to go overboard when I do. And, but their prices are fantastic. You can get a lot of newer releases for really, really cheap. And there's times where they have sales that I just can't pass up. So I will put in an order definitely a few times a year to bookoutlet.com. I think it's one of the better places to get really great prices on books. And then every so often, if it's a brand new release or something I really want to pre-order, I'll do an Amazon thing. And then I have also been frequenting Books A Million a few times because I'm actually near one now and I have the luxury of going into a bookstore now. I haven't had that for a while. So yeah, it's a little bit of everything, I guess, but majority is Goodwill or Book Outlet because I do like to buy discounted books. Question number 5 is comments. How do you respond to comments that you can tend to get frequently? One example is, how do you read so much? How do you kind of handle those comments? And I get that a lot because I have 2 children. So, you know, I don't have the luxury of sitting around reading every single day. I don't. Like, you know, my kids, they're in activities. We are going places. We're doing things. Some weeks are busier than others, all that. But I still make the time to read. And I just tell people I make reading a priority. It's just that, you know, if you have a family and you have children, what are you doing in your downtime? Because you're not constantly, you know, unless you have a toddler or an infant who's starting to walk, you don't usually always have to have your eyes on your kids 24 hours a day. So in your downtime, what are you doing? Are you watching TV? Are you playing Candy Crush? You know, what is it that you like to do in your downtime to relax? I like to read. That's what I choose to do. So that's how I read so much. I make it a priority and I try to sneak it in every single chance that I get. Probably it would be the same as anyone sneaking in something any chance they get, but it may not be books. It may be TV shows. It may be playing a game. It may be meditating. It may be scrapbooking. It may be, you know, something like that. But for me, it's books. Question number 6 is next book. How do you pick what book you're going to read next? And I struggle with this. I do TBR videos every month, so I kind of set a little bit of a TBR for myself. Lately, I've been giving myself a little bit more wiggle room as far as what I want to read next. Sometimes I have buddy reads that help, you know, like, okay, obviously we're going to start this today. I'm reading it with someone else. We have a start date. Here's what I'm reading next. Sometimes it's I look at my books that I have said I'm going to read this month and pick which one I want to read. I've been wanting to give myself more freedom to just pick up and mood read. However, when I have also struggled with this though, because I craved that so much that I just wanted to do nothing but mood read. But at the same time, when it would be time to pick something, I'm like, I look at my shelves and I go, I have no clue. I have no clue what I want to read right now. I got overwhelmed. So actually having a small little list has been helping. It hasn't been overwhelming though. So before in the past, I would pick like 10 books I want to read this month. No, let's be real, Sarah. Normally you don't read 10 books in a month. Every so often I will, but I was picking too many things. Now I started to pick fewer things, but still a little bit more focalized. And so I can kind of say, okay, here's what I read next. And then occasionally I picked up something random. So yeah, mostly I will work off my TBR list. Mostly. Number 7 is travel. How do you pick what book or books that you plan to take with you on vacation, on a road trip, wherever you're going. So for me, I will usually take whatever current hard physical book that I'm currently reading, and I will take that and try to finish it. I will also take my Kindle with me because most likely I will finish a book or two if I'm on vacation because I'll have some downtime. I'll have time to read. And taking my Kindle is a great option for me because I have so many books at my disposal and I can just pick up whatever is on there at any time and read it. And it's ready to go. And I don't have to lug around, 3 or 4 books. So Kindle is a big travel companion for me. Anytime I go on a vacation or go on a trip somewhere or do anything, I take my Kindle with me always. I will usually also take a physical book with me just to have something like that. So that's how I pick. Question number 8 is annotate. Do you write or highlight in your books? I do not. I just don't think about it. And I see other people annotate their books and I think that's great. I actually really like seeing the tabs, in the books and, they're marking off certain passages and things like that. And I think that's great. I don't personally want to take the time to do it. I just want to read and be in the story. I don't want to take the time to stop and mark things and do all that. I also tend to unhaul my books. When I read them, a lot of books I unhaul. And I don't want to donate books that have been written in and tabbed up and all that stuff, especially if I put that much work into it. I don't want to give it to someone else. Like I put a lot of work into that. So that's why. And I also, I would not personally buy an annotated book at a store because to me, it would be distracting. I'd be like, I don't want to see what everyone else is saying or what other people are thinking or whatever, or highlighting or underlining. It would distract me a little bit from the story. So I don't want to donate a book that I've written in and marked up and, all that stuff. So I don't know. I guess it's just a personal preference, but I do see other people doing that and I love the way that it looks and I love watching them do that, but I just personally don't. Question number 9 is new or backlist. Do you prefer new releases as they're coming out or do you prefer to read from your backlist books that have been out for a while? I definitely tend towards the backlist because I have so many backlist books. I don't buy a lot of new releases. There's a few authors that I will pre-order books from if they have something new coming out. There's certain series that I will pre-order books. If, it's an ongoing series, I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering Dark Dawn when it comes out later this year. But I don't know, for the most part, I work on my backlist more than anything. And I don't know. I mean, I don't have to read a book as soon as it's released. I don't have to. I don't feel the need necessarily to do that. But I don't know. It's so strange because I can read a book that was published 10 years ago and I'll still enjoy it as much as if I had read it 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So the book doesn't change over time. It just doesn't. But yeah, I don't know. So I guess more backlist, but occasionally, especially if I get a book for review, I'll read it, before it comes out or whatever. But I don't tend to pre-order a lot. It takes a lot for me to pre-order a book. I have to really love the author or really love the series to pre-order it. And question number 10 is sequels. Do you like to read a sequel to a series as it's being released, or do you prefer to wait until the entire series is released before you start the series? I'm a little bit mixed on this one too. I think I would probably prefer to have at least most of the series out before I start reading it because I would probably not want to wait. I'd probably just want to, read them or have access to them at least as quickly as possible. I say that, but I don't always do it either. So there is that. I do like the idea of having something ready to go and I can say, okay, I'm going to get this started. And if I really like it, I'll just blow through it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But at the same time, there is something to be said about the anticipation. It's kind of fun to just be like, oh, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this. And then it comes out and then you read it and it's so great. And you're in the middle of all the hype and everyone's talking about it and you get to be one of those people. So I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit mixed on it. I think I would probably prefer to start a series closer to when everything's being released. It doesn't have to be all released before I start it, but I would like to probably start it and then be able to kind of read it quickly and then only have to wait, a couple of months before the third one comes out or whatever. Something like that. So I don't know if I really answered that question because I don't really know my answer. I guess I'm a little bit of a mix of both. It depends on the series. There have also been series where I bought the entire series and they're still sitting on my shelves after a couple of years and I haven't even started them and they've been released for a while. So there's that. Okay, guys, so that is the Dilemmas of a Book Nerd tag. I'm going to tag a few people. I'm actually going to tag some newer booktubers and give them shout outs and encourage them to do this. So I'm going to pull up my feed here and tag a few people. Okay, so I am going to tag Amy from A Court at Crowns and Quills. She's not necessarily a newer booktuber, well, a little bit, but she's definitely a little bit more established. But I have recently found her, so I love her channel. So I'm going to tag Amy. I'm going to tag Lori at Books, Ink, and Paper. And I'm going to tag Danny. I hope that's your name. I just tried to listen and I hope I heard it correctly. Her channel is called Current Chapter, so I'm going to tag you as well. I hope your name is Danny. If I got it wrong, let me know. Like, yell at me in the comments, please. So I'm going to tag those 3 ladies. So, all right, I think that's going to be it for me today. So I will tag all those people down below as well, so you guys can go check out their channels. And then I will leave Lindsay's original tag video down below as well, so you can go and check that out if you haven't seen it yet. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.